That sounds like a slow process.
Oh, of course. It happens life after life after life. This is what the process of incarnation and reincarnation provides. Through the law of cause and effect, in relation to the law of rebirth, we come into life again and again to gradually cut down on all these unnecessary emotional identifications, the wrong identifications with life, with our body, with our feelings, with the creations of our mind. The baby coming into life comes in pure. It has a total sense of itself as the self. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the mechanism of speech to tell you all about it. But the baby, the young especially, up to a few months old, the baby is just totally saturated with its enjoyment, its pure joy, when it's not hungry, that is, its pure joy of being the self which it feels itself to be. Then we make it aware of itself as this physical body, and we talk to it and we give it a name and so on. I didn't give my first child, a name for about a year. I only called him the boy. And for at least a year, he called himself the boy. When he began to speak and so on, he said, the boy wants this, and the boy. And that was a very detached way of approaching him. If I'd called him a name, he would have identified with the name and therefore with the personality. I don't know if it helped, but I just remember that that's what I did. Yeah.
In another message, Maitreya says, I do not want you to believe in me. First experience me within you. Would you explain that?
Yes. Religious groups believe that if you have a teacher, Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or whomever, you have to believe in them. And Krishna would say, believe in Jesus and all will be well. Just believe in him. Say you believe, but what does it mean? Just to believe, just to say, I believe that Jesus exists. Well, personally, I believe that Jesus exists. He's living in Rome. He's been living in Rome for the last 7 years. He's a great master. And he will be seen very shortly in the world with Maitreya and a whole group of other masters. But just to say, I believe in Jesus doesn't change one. What really changes one is to identify with that which Maitreya as the Christ, Jesus who stood in for him in Palestine, demonstrate in themselves. That is the love which is the Christ principle. You identify with that in you, in your own self, and you have the experience of Maitreya. Just to believe in him as a world teacher is not important. And it's not important whether you believe in Jesus or Maitreya. But it is important that you recognize the Christ principle in yourself, and insofar as that is awakened in you, Maitreya can work through you. He can change the world through you.
And that's how we experience him within us.
Indeed, within ourselves as an experience of the Christ principle. He embodies that principle. Now, from his point of view, there's no separation between him and us. He says, I am with you and in you. I am with you physically, present in the world, living in London, but I am in you as the Christ principle in your heart, which is this heart at the right-hand side of the body. The spiritual heart is at the right side of the body. In the Bible it says, the wise man's heart is at the right side, the foolish man's heart is at the left. This refers to the spiritual heart in which the Christ principle is awakened and which is done through the agency of the Christ. And then it can be blown on by the masters and by the Christ and blossom as a manifest Christ principle in the individual.
Many of these ideas that you put forward today may appeal to people who are spiritual seekers but who don't want to be part of any organized religion. Is it possible to follow Maitreya's teachings without following him as an individual?
I think that's exactly what has to be done. He says, I have not come to found a religion. I've not come to create followers. In fact, if you follow me in the sense of chasing after me, claiming me, putting me in your pocket, then you will lose me. He wishes you to follow the teachings, put into practice the teachings, because if you don't put in practice the teachings, it matters not whether you believe in him or not. Just to believe in a religious teacher does not change you. To put into practice what the religious teacher of all groups, of all nations, of all religions are teaching, changes the man or woman who does so. But you have to do it in yourself. Nobody can save you. You have to save yourself.
So his teachings would apply to those who don't want to follow any organized religion. I guess what you're saying would also apply to those who do belong to a religious organization.
He says those who are already in religious groups and so on should continue to evolve within their own tradition, whatever it is. He says, I don't want you to worship me. He said, if you worship me, you're putting me above you. I'm not above you. I'm exactly on the same level as everybody, because there is only one divinity. The only difference between the Christ and ourselves, Maitreya and ourselves, or any of the masters and ourselves, is that they have achieved, demonstrated the divinity, whereas most of us are at some stage way down there in demonstrating that divinity. But one day we shall do what they can do. Jesus said it in Palestine, you know. One day you will do greater things than I do because I go to the Father. He knew that he would evolve, and he knew that there's a path of evolution open to everybody, and that one day everybody finds themselves on that path. That esoteric path is the path at the last stage of the evolutionary process, the path of discipleship, eventually the path of initiation, in which the masters, in a very direct, straightforward way, guide their disciples to the same achievement, stage by stage, which they have done.
Then it sounds like Maitreya's teachings don't go contrary to any
Not at
organized
all.
religion.
No, the point is that the teachings of the hierarchy are the teachings behind all of the religious teachings, all of the philosophical teachings, all the culture, all the science, all the art that's created in the world of the best, the highest level, is done under the inspiration of the masters. They are the muses for the poets and the writers and the artists down the edges. They impress the minds of their disciples. Sometimes they're in quite close relationship and overshadow those disciples. The music of Mozart or of Bach and Beethoven would not be what it was without the overshadowing mind of the masters working through them. It's likewise for the great painters. Columbus would never have found what he thought was America, or he actually thought it was India, right, but for the inspiration of the master who stood behind him.
If we were able to put all these teachings, actually able to put them into practice, how would they affect our day-to-day lives?
Oh, they would transform it. If you put into practice the process of detachment, then you become detached. Things don't get to you in the same way. You stand back a bit from life and look at it, and you're not totally taken up when things are good, nor are you terribly depressed when things are bad. You become more equable and easier of accommodation and become more adaptable to life. Adaptability is a very positive aspect which shows in the animal kingdom and in the human kingdom when you become detached.
More balanced.
More balanced, more at ease with yourself and others around you, therefore.
Sounds like
easier
life
to
would
live
be
with.
Less stressful. Yeah.
Less stressful indeed, yeah. You see, it's
That's
very
it.
easy to get taken up by the feelings that this is, everything's against me. This is too much. I can take not an ounce more. All my disappointments, all my failures, all these terrible things that seem to happen to me and that cripple people. But if, much of it is their own doing. As you become detached, all of that takes, you see things in perspective. You have to have a sense of proportion in life.